Okay. Welcome. Let's try this again, and I'll edit that first part out where I'm not able to hear anything. Um, I'm just really excited to be here. Welcome to Meatless Monday. I don't know what was already missed. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty, so I'm going to go ahead and introduce again. This is such an important topic that I'm so excited to share with everyone. There's a lot of myths and misconceptions, and probably a lot of struggles with a lot of parents that want to make sure that they're feeding their children in the most healthy and compassionate way and sustainable for our environment. And this is definitely what we found in research the best way to do it, which is a vegan way of living. So I have here with me our special guest, Bjorn. And did I do it right that time?
Almost.
Almost. Okay, well,
It,
he's gonna introduce himself with his name because I can't seem to get it right. However, I'm so excited for him to be here. He is a vegan parenting coach, which is such an important job, and he also is an expert in the field. He's done lots of research for veganism, and he himself became vegan. I just found out only 3 years ago, and has done so much for helping keep this message out and helping vegan parents. So I just want to introduce you and thank you for being with us, and thank you for your time through all the technical issues, and welcome.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Great. And you're coming to us from Germany, is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Oh wow. What time is it there by chance?
It's 8:30 p.m.
Oh wow. Okay, so we better hurry here, especially with kids. You're probably ready to settle in. Um, so thank you for being here. Could you just tell us a little bit? Like I mentioned earlier, you haven't been vegan or weren't raised vegan. Could you tell us about your journey and how you got started becoming vegan and looking into this lifestyle?
Yeah, actually, I was very opposed to veganism before. I had quite some limiting beliefs and quite some doubts and misinformation about this. And I was more the type of person who would say, oh, someone mentions vegan, I need to get some more meat on my plate just to counter this because I felt so uncomfortable with the topic. And but I learned that there's ways to overcome limiting beliefs, and I worked a lot on myself to being more open-minded until I was able to approach this topic. And still, it was difficult for me. I I have fortunately an amazing wife who was a little bit more into this than I was at the start, and who kind of pushed me a little bit to watch a movie, actually to watch a documentary, The Game Changers, and who she wanted to see this, and I was uh, well still resisting to do it for quite some time. But then eventually we already kind of made a little shift in our life that we reduced meat a lot. We had like meat once a day, once a week, I think, and became more and more aware of the environmental issues they were there. And well, then at some evening, she convinced me to watch this movie, and this was the absolute tipping point, the changing moment for me, where I decided I'm not going to have any of this anymore, and I went vegan overnight together with my wife,
Oh
which
wow.
was in a very interesting and exciting phase for us because my wife was pregnant with our first son.
Oh, congratulations on that. That is wonderful. And I just want to take a second before we move forward too and say that I know for me that changed everything that I thought about food with one documentary. And I think that's how important it is for us to get this information out here, because maybe we're doing that for someone. And I also want to introduce and thank our co-host here, J&J Video Reacts, and the producer of this stream for all the hard work that she did on getting us back up and running. Um, it was a difficult situation when YouTube shut it off. So thank you for doing that, and let's welcome her. I know she had to go off camera, but I just wanted to say thank you. So you have your first child on the way, and you watch this documentary. So at this point, you probably were wondering, how did that happen? Like, what did you think, or how did you research it when it came to your child? Because I know, especially with the first one, you're excited and want to do everything right.
Yes, that's so true. And we had our doubts in this regard, and we had all these myths in our heads that society tells, and I guess it's the same where you live, it's the same in Germany, that this can be dangerous for the child. You heard maybe some crazy stories of childs who didn't get proper nutrition because they were vegan, which of course is doesn't make sense when you actually look into it a little more and know what you do and know that this is much more healthy for your child. And that's what we did. So we were a little hesitant with um, with this topic at, like, I think for a few days maybe, but luckily we both have a scientific background, and we went straight into the nutrition science and the research and everything which is there, which is so much, which is so amazing that there's so much knowledge around this when you look at it from the scientific perspective. And we got really passionate about this topic and really fascinated with all the amazing benefits and effects and mechanisms and how great our body is with all these wonderful nutrients. So we really went into looking at the research ourselves, watching many, many more of those documentaries and following a few YouTube channels and so on. And we quickly gathered so much knowledge around this that we felt very confident that we did just the right decision for our baby, for our unborn baby, and
Yes.
continued with this until then to still find out even more amazing things about it and new ways to even improve it. Yeah.
That is so interesting what you said, because there is such a wealth of information, and that's what I always tell people to do. It's just not really on the forefront of things you might see, um, on the on TV, on mainstream. Welcome, Marquita. Thank you so much for coming. I know you'll catch the replay. I know we're running a little late here because of the issues. Um, and the thing is, I tell people always do your own research, and we've done lots of research, and there is a myth behind it that it's, when you tell people you're going vegan, or if you say, I'm going to raise my kids vegan, the first thing they might say is, oh, that could be dangerous. They're worried because they're vegan, and then you find out after all the information it's the complete other way, that it's dangerous not being vegan, really, or not raising your kids with that diet. So how did your family and other parents like react to you when you let them know that you were going to raise your children vegan?
Yeah, I guess we got the full spectrum of different replies you could get from different parents and from our family. Our two sides of the family reacted quite differently to it. But so for my family, for example, it was that they were also worried in a way because they heard the same myth that we heard. And luckily, they knew that we have our scientific background and that when we do something and we really go into it, that we do our homework and we really know what we're doing. And that from that, I think they were kind of they didn't really understand it themselves back then, but they knew that we would do anything to harm our our baby and that we would always do the best of our knowledge. And because of this, we really quickly got quite confident about it. And the the not so pleasant questions and responses and the concerns or questions that might be criticizing, they didn't have such a great effect on us then anymore. or they just went became much less for people who knew us.
Yes, and I think that helps, like when you have that type of confidence in what you're saying and you have research to, to tell people, hey, this is the study I read. This is not an opinion. This is actually with testing, people for their nutrients and things. And like some of the things that I know right off, which I had made in the post, is that it definitely health wise it sets your child up for less of a risk of many different diseases up to and including like childhood obesity, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease. It's just when you're getting the right fuel for your body, just like us when we're older, it's the same for children. So I think is that part of your message, like do you coach people who might not even be sure why they would want to make their kids plant based?
Yeah, so what you're saying is so important. It is just crucial that when you decide to go vegan and when you decide to raise your child vegan, that you're confident about it, because this will also reflect on your child. And when you raise a child as a vegan, then it's really important for the child to know why, to understand it for himself or herself, and to also learn how to be confident about it. And the child can only learn to be confident about it, or much easier learn when you are, as a parent, are confident about it. Because this is the greatest influence you have as a parent. The way you behave, the way you act as a role model. And this is one of the large parts of the major things I help parents with, to help them raise their children to become confident vegans, such that the children themselves understand it, that they want it from themselves, because parents usually don't want to force their children into anything, right? It's
Yes.
the parent's job to make decisions for the child, so that's totally fine to decide for the child that the child will be raised vegan, but at some point the child will make their own decisions, and parents want that for their child usually, and want their child to understand it on their own and want it from their own, such that they become really confident about it, they become excited and proud vegans, and that the parents don't need to worry that at some point the child just abandons this lifestyle. And this is what I love to help parents with.
That's a great, great point. And I just wanted to read the comments here. Marakita says she loves the vegan shirt that you have on
Yeah,
there. What does it say there? Vegan?
vegan for, and then there's a lot of good reasons, and
Oh,
then
that's
it's
cool.
everything.
Dawn over here got this shirt for me. It just says vegan from my head to my toes,
Yeah.
tomatoes, because it was like I love puns, so it kind of played into both of those. So thank you. And she said plant powered babies rock, and thank goodness they aren't being forced to drink cow's milk like I was. And that we all were. We weren't just forced to drink it. I mean, yeah, we were forced, but we thought, and to what you said, that was so important is you create a space for the children to understand why they're doing it and get excited about it, as I've seen on some of your videos. And what this does is when they become 15, 16, or even younger, when they're in school and they're making their own decisions, they will then understand it. And is that like what are some things that you do to get your kids excited about saving animals and vegetables and things like that to get them to eat the right things?
Yeah, there are so many amazing things you can do. So of course it has a lot to do with food and nutrition, but veganism is so much more than just food, right? So you can get them excited about the food. You can take them with you when you go grocery shopping, so they can pick some great fruits or veggies which they like, and then they're excited about trying them at home. You can take them with you in the kitchen and let them help prepare. Actually, my son, he's almost 3 now, and he can almost on his own prepare some of our meals now, or he loves to make smoothies
Oh,
with
wow.
fruits. And or when you ask him, he can tell you exactly how to make a no-bake vegan brownie.
Wow,
Like
that's
the
so
whole the whole
Really?
3
yeah.
years
So
old.
kids are
It's
amazing.
awesome.
They are so smart and they can learn and understand at such a young age. It's surprising, especially for when you're a young parent or you're not a parent at all. Then you have no idea how clever kids can be and how
And they have
early.
no judgments.
Yeah, and they love life and animals and nature, and that's another thing you can do. You can just nurture their love and their compassion, which they already have. You can do activities with them to connect them with nature. I love to go to the forest with them and explore and let them see different animals. And there's many, for example, an amazing activity is to visit a sanctuary with them, such that they can see the the animals themselves and get in touch with them and get connected with them. And there's so many amazing activities you can also be
That's a
very very
great.
offensive about it, and even visit activism events with them, which I also do. For example, we went to the carnival um, here in spring, and I was with both of them handing out flyers about veganism to this huge crowd, and they had lots and lots of fun.
That is excellent. And I was gonna say, that is not even just something that you can do for your children, but that's a great thing if you yourself are trying to get into veganism, or you want to understand. Maybe you have a spouse that is into being vegan and you're not. That's one thing you can do, even for adults. I think is a great idea. In addition to kids, is go into a sanctuary, because I think we're connected with cats and dogs, maybe a couple of other animals that we might see in our day to day life, but the animals that we're eating, there's such a disconnect. And I think the sanctuary and farms, they actually can show you that these animals have compassion. Like, you can see that they have feelings and they're smart, just like all of the animals that we have domesticated.
Yes, that's so true. And kids understand this at such an early age, and they are really excited about it. They are so excited about learning that once you start explaining it to them, that's another really important thing. Just talk to them about it, be open, be honest. You don't have to like show them the um, maybe a bit more difficult footage when
Right.
they're small, of course, but you can still explain them in appropriate language what is happening, and they will understand to a certain extent depending on the age, and they will be really keen to learn even more. So I was super proud when my son started talking and when he picked up the word vegan. And then he was so excited about this word. Um, he would always say, "We are vegan," but in German, of course.
That
Although
is
he's
cute.
also learning English, but this one he picked up more. It's the same in German, by the way. But he started to say that we are vegan all the time and started to be excited about it and shout it everywhere. And then at some point he learned about which food items are vegan and which are not. And so for some reason he was really excited about tofu. So he would from out of nowhere suddenly shout, "Tofu vegan,"
That is
just like
really
that.
cute. And
And
how old was he at that time?
he was two.
Oh,
So
wow, that's so
yeah.
good, cute.
And then
Welcome
we had
in, Buddha. Thank you for joining. Buddha 1000 said, don't forget to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. Thank you. And Marquita said she hopes your kids can be featured guests on many live streams.
yeah, well, this would be a lovely live stream. They're super cute together. And yeah, it's just amazing how quickly they learn and how excited they become about it. And we have a few, we have quite some children's books, vegan children's books, who explain this in a very nice way. And for some reason, they decide that these are their favorite books. that they want to read over and over and over and over and over again. But of course, it's great that they want to learn this and want to learn even more about it.
Yes, because it's such an important thing, and children at that age are learning everything. You're teaching them about the world, so it's probably you're putting them in such a better situation than all of us who were programmed and learned everything that our parents thought. Our parents loved us, and they thought they were feeding us exactly how they were told to by their parents and grandparents, and the things they heard on TV, and the government, even in some cases, recommending dairy. So our parents were doing the best that they could, and I think that's what all parents do. But now that this information is out there, that's why I thought this stream was so important, because if we can start children at a younger age. And what do you feel like is from the parents you work with, or from, what is the biggest challenge that families run into that want to get this process started?
So this really depends on at which stage the parents are. So you say what that get the process started. So you mean parents that want to make the switch to vegan, or which parents are you referring to? So if they want to
Like,
switch, mhm.
right, like, let's say that there are parents who started raising their children vegan, and is it like that, if their children are a little bit older, are they thinking in school, like, this is not necessarily people who came into it like when you did with the before your baby was born, but let's say they just decide to go vegan, and are there challenges with kids in school that maybe are getting other ideas in their mind? Does that seem to be a challenge? And is that when it's a good idea to kind of start bringing them into making the food exciting?
Yes, that's definitely a big topic. Schools, daycare, and all kinds of environments where they are with many other uh, children, because often there are many more non-vegan kids around than kids. It's even often the case that there's like one vegan kid in the whole school or the whole daycare. And that's a challenging environment for the kid when the kid realizes that something's different. And of course, no parent wants their kid to be excluded or feel lonely or feel different. And that's a big topic for the parents, that they don't want the kid, the little one, to feel like they miss out on anything, or they get excluded, or they feel different. And then, of course, the nutrition, the food itself, is often a topic that when the school or the daycare doesn't provide it, what do you do about that? Do you, how is the option there to bring something? Or there's a lot of details around this, of course, but it's mainly, I would say, that parents don't want their kid to feel uncomfortable with being vegan. They rather want their child to be excited about it, to be confident about it, and to feel good about being vegan, to even be able to talk about it with others, to to say that they are vegan, and not to feel alienated or excluded or anything. And this is a big thing, because children, of course, realize when someone is vegan and the rest is not, then the other children will notice, and the child itself will notice. And you can prepare your child for this, and you can help your child a lot with feeling good about this, with being confident. And it quickly can turn into the child being overconfident about it and even wanting to teach all the other child then.
Right.
Yeah, that's definitely a big challenge parents have with these environments.
That's got to be so true, and I would imagine that, um, likely you'd probably recommend sending them with things, to eat with them. Of course, then possibly might be easier than them making the selections at school on their own. if they have more than one thing to choose from, I'm sure it's better to bring lunch. And that's something we all also deal with, is how to present that when we're in group situations. It's like it just filters into, so having them understand it and be excited about it, and not like you said, maybe be judgmental on others, is that's so important of how you teach them. And that's probably one of the things that you can help them navigate, and help them get through that situation. We have a question in the chat. Marquita says, does oh, do the kids have vegan friends now? Like, do you feel like there's still that thing, like, where they don't know anyone else who's vegan, or do they actually, are they old enough to have friends yet?
Well, this strongly depends on where they live. There are areas where there's like one vegan family in the whole village, or one vegan family in the whole school. And then, of course, they don't have vegan friends in the school, but there's often other vegan families around which might not have connected yet. And that's also a very important point for vegan families, to connect with other like-minded families and to find other families such that the kids also have vegan friends.
Hmm.
And that's very important for many parents. And in most of the areas, it is possible to find them. You might have to put some energy into it and go search. They might not be at the same daycare or the same school, but this is something which is very important for the kids to see, that they are not the only ones who are vegan.
That's true. And I love what you said about, at that point in life, we're already making the decisions for kids, like, it's not something that we allow them to select a lot of things on their own. We wouldn't let them go out after dark, as a young child, and go walk around in the street. We would want to protect them. And I think when you really research what this does for the environment, what it does for their health, mostly, important in that young of an age, how it's developing them, and you realize what the dangers are, of milk and things, at that point, how it affects our body, then it really makes it something that you have to, almost like, I feel like now that you have to do. But there's so many people who don't there's so many people actually who don't know this yet, so almost like it's pushed to the side, or like you said, they you know don't know this information yet. So I'm very thankful that you empower parents and put that information out there, so that more parents can understand it.
Yeah, that's really so important, especially for um, parent for like parents who are going to be parents, who are pregnant, expecting a child, parents who have an infant. There's even more myth around this, and or about the first foods you might give to your child. It's often the case that the doctors or the midwife or other family members still say that they should have certain things like milk or eggs or meat, and which we now know that it's actually not so beneficial for them. It's actually not healthy for them. It's much healthier to raise them vegan, in a healthy vegan way, of course. And yeah, that's very important that you mentioned this, and that this information reaches more parents, because of course parents always want to do the best for their kids and do the best they know. It's not that they don't want to do the right thing. It's different things, that they don't believe it, or that they don't have the information, and that's why it's so important.
I think we talk about this on a lot of the live streams that I do, is that I feel like we're in the middle of a really big transition in the world right now. If we are going to look back on this time in history, like, of different things that have revolutionized or changed, like, not only how technology is changing so quickly, but I feel like more than ever it's still a long way to go, but I feel like more and more people are getting this information out there, and the world is kind of starting to see how it impacts our environment, how it impacts our health, and how the plant-based movement has kind of like, there's more, at least here in my area, there's so many more vegan food options than ever were before. Now some of them aren't the healthiest, but I think people are starting to really understand it more, and I think more people will start to realize this, hopefully, that that's the best way to like raise, their children, because the earlier the better, so they don't have to change that programming that we all had. What are some of your favorite like go-to meals? Because I know a lot of times when I tell people that I'm vegan, or that you should really feed your kids more plant-based, or yourself, they don't, the first thing is, I wouldn't know what to eat, or I wouldn't know what to cook. So what are some things that you and your wife kind of prepare that your kids really like, or that they get excited about? I think I saw one of your videos where you were making sushi.
Yes, this was it's really interesting. So we love sushi, and we experimented a little bit with this when we went vegan. Of course, vegan sushi is simple. You just don't put any animal products. You don't put fish. You just make it with vegetables. But then we wanted to have it more healthy and stopped to use white rice. And then it got more exciting. So we started to make sushi with black rice, whole grain black rice, and now we don't even use rice anymore. So the one you saw in that video was done with millet, actually. And well, the kids love this, and they love when they are included in preparing it. On the and the video mentioned, I think I did cut it together with him, so I was teaching him how to use large sharp knives with this. And we have many simple things, because for parents, they usually don't want to spend hours in the kitchen to prepare fancy food. They want something which is practical, which the kids like, which they like, which has good
Hmm.
nutrition. And so we usually, when we, for example, want a snack, a quick one, which the kids are really excited about, is we just take a banana, slice it in small pieces, and put some nut butter on top. And
Oh,
maybe
that's
we put
great.
some cacao nibs on top, or something. You can have some variations there, but that's something. If the kids see that, everything else will just be forgotten, and they want to have that. And then what they also love is those smoothies when um, so my son, he's a lot into cacao powder at the moment. You can ask him, everything has to be with cacao powder. And so he wants to have like chocolate smoothies in a sense. So we use um, raw 100% cacao powder and add this to the smoothies. And like this, we can they can have just lots and lots more fruits and also greens. So we don't want to hide the fruit in the smoothie. They also like eat it on their um, the whole thing, the individual thing first, and try. And if they like it, then it can go into the smoothie. But like this, of course, it's much easier for them to have more greens, more fruits, and get even more vitamins. And yeah, then we have all these great meals which kids love, like a vegan lentil bolognese, or a vegan mac and cheese sauce, or we um, we also love to make granola or muesli or porridge or oatmeal for breakfast, and just have lots of snacks with fruits in between. So, and then we do quite some batch cooking where we do huge meals and have enough to freeze quite some of it, such that we don't cook every single day
Oh,
and
that's
never have
great.
time to spend with the kids to do amazing other things.
That's really interesting. And like, what are some things like, I think that are easy for parents to get at the store? Like, I know someone said on I think it might have been on J&J Video's stream. I was on there, but I'm always wearing one of my like vegan shirts. So someone said, "Oh, I think I dated someone before that was vegan, and it was too expensive." And but our vegan way of living, especially now that I'm mostly raw and just whole food plant based, is very cheap. Actually, it's like our grocery bill went down because I get rice, potatoes, and then just like beans, which are one of like the cheapest things, and they're so diverse. Like you can make them taste like anything. Like if you wanted like I don't know if do you guys do tacos like ever type meals or like wraps, you can make the beans taste like whatever the children like. I think that's what we do. We can make them like Dawn makes curry, like she puts curry in them sometimes, powder, or you can make them like just a regular like taco type seasoning spices. I think that kids don't have to, they can still eat kind of what the other kids are eating by flavoring things, because that's what it's really all about. And I love what you said about you let the kids try the fruits. And did I see where you mentioned in one of your posts too that it's important to take them to the store as well to let them pick things out?
Yeah, that's something they have a lot of fun with, and how they can get even more interested in the foods they actually eat. So of course it's a clever thing to um, just include them there, to have time with them together, and at the same time do something useful. But it's also important to, you can go there and teach them a lot about which foods are vegan, which foods are not, such that they uh, see those foods as well, in a context where you can explain to them what they see, and then they can pick. There's like this produce aisle where they see all this colorful fruits and vegetables, and then we just allow them to run around and choose what they want to have, and then they can try it at home. And like this, they are much more interested. If they were allowed to go there and pick this huge watermelon,
Hmm.
then of course they want to have it at home and want to try it. And there's several fruits which we introduced this way, that they wanted to buy them and then they wanted to try it and now they love it. Whereas when we just buy something which they see the first time when it's cut in pieces on their plate, then they often don't know what it is and just don't want to have it.
That's interesting. And you while you were talking, it just made me think of something. When you said all the beautiful fruits and vegetables, I would assume that without the already, like you said, pre-programming where the kids probably run in and go to the mac and cheese, if they really looked at what would stimulate the a child, I know for me, a lot of times before I was vegan, I'd really scan through the produce aisle and then on to other things, and now that's like you just look at it and it's so beautiful with all the colors. So I bet that's a really good idea. And watermelon has got to be a favorite of theirs. I bet. I think all of us love it. I just remembered we have one in here, so I'm like excited now. You got me re-excited about the watermelon.
Yeah, right now it's strawberries that start to be in the store again, and they're not coming from half the world away.
Right.
They love them as well. Bright red, glowing strawberries. Yeah, it's true. And they actually love several of these super healthy foods. Like, for example, both of my kids, and I heard this from many other parents who approached it similarly, they love broccoli.
Really.
They really love it. They can eat so much of it. Or when my son started to eat solid foods, which was quite early because we did something called baby-led weaning.
Oh,
Um,
oh, you have to tell us that.
yeah, I can explain in a moment, or I can explain right now. So what you do is, instead of making a puree or anything which is blended, or you have the something prepared for them, you just take the fruits and vegetables as they are, and let the kid decide what he wants, or what the kid wants to try first and wants to eat. So for vegetables, you often cook or steam them such that they are soft, because you start maybe with 6 months where they don't have teeth, maybe, and then they decide on their own what they want to have, when they want to start to eat it actually, and how much, and they experience the the fruit and the vegetable the way it is, and can get the feeling for what it actually is what they're eating, and it's not just a mixture of many things where they can't make out anymore what it actually is. And like this, they start with trying broccoli and sweet potato and carrots and cucumber and apple and banana and all these things just on their own. It's really
Mhm.
simple, and they just directly learn which fruit and vegetables which they like. And then often you can see that they're very excited about trying new things and excited about broccoli. So
Mhm.
this was the case for both of my child, and I heard this a lot. And
Mhm.
um, yeah, and sweet potato. So when my son started with this, he was a bit more than 5 months when there are certain signs you can see that they are really interested in food, and you kind of used to even let the child decide when to start with this. You don't like force it; you just offer it, and if the child doesn't want it, then okay, you wait. And
Mhm.
he wanted to start with 5 months, and then he wanted when we introduced sweet potato, he was so much into sweet potato. At some point, he ate like one whole sweet potato all at once.
Oh my.
And I was worried how this could even fit in him. But yeah, so, and, and they just eat so much of the healthy things on their own when you let them, and when you don't try to trick with mixed foods or introduce artificial things or highly processed things, then they get a really good feeling and intuition about it.
Yeah, I think that's the interesting thing that you're saying too, is you're introducing them to the healthy food first instead of the other way around, where they kind of learn, oh, you know what, I get excited to go, to McDonald's, for example, or, they get excited about a Happy Meal. A lot of kids like the meals with the toys, but getting them excited about the actual, like, hey, look at this, it's about how you're presenting it to them, it sounds like. And I love that they are getting excited about vegetables, so that do they ask for, like, when they ask for different snacks, is that what they come to you? And if they're old enough now, do they ask for different, like, fruits and vegetables?
Yes, they do, and it's it's a lot about um, what you present them, of course, but it's also a lot about what you actually do. So
Hmm.
if you are a good example and you also have healthy food, then they want to have what you have. And it's the same with teaching them to feel good about being vegan, or teaching them to be confident about it, or to be able to talk about it with others. If they see you doing it, then that's what they want to do as well. And if they see you being anxious about it or avoiding the topic, then they might adopt that. And so it's with food, it's with the behavior, it's with how we feel about it. It's this is one of the most important tools we have as a parent, that we just show them with what we do.
Yeah.
It kind of touches on what I said earlier about the fact that by them being so young, they don't have a lot of the stuff that burdens you when you get older and have a few years on you and you've experienced some things that can taint your judgment of life and how the world is, what you should do. And when they're children, it's so easy for them not to have all of that because they haven't lived yet.
Hmm.
And then when they have a parent, when they're lucky enough to have parents like you and, us, if we had kids, you can color that and make them more like you right off the bat. And you don't get the resistance because they don't really know that there is a resistance. You know what I mean? They don't know that there's something different, and eventually they'll find out, but by then they've already made their choices. And when they see how adverse the choices are and they realize, wow, my parents really set me out on the right foot because I see what happens when you go down that road, then they'll be even more grateful for it, and they'll be able to teach their children, and it'll just keep getting passed on and on and on. Like they don't know that, oh, they never had pizza or they've never eaten burgers and things like that. So when they see other kids do it, they're going to be the ones that'll be like, "Oh, why are you eating a dead animal?"
Mhm.
You know what I mean? They're going to come from a different perspective. So I applaud you and your wife for really getting them out on the right track.
Yeah,
Yes, and it will become, like you said, that was a good point, Don, that you said about that they will teach their children this, and then if they have
It'll
children,
keep
their
getting passed
children.
on.
I'm
Yeah.
hearing like a little bit of something. Maybe the stream is turned up. Oh, it's stopped now, but I feel like I hear a little bit of background noise.
No, it might be my other Zoom call.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I,
Well,
I
thank you for
can't turn it
being
all the
here.
way down because it'll end it.
Okay, no problem. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't like I thought it was our stream playing because I do
Yeah.
that on my
Sorry,
phone.
I've kind of been in and out. I'm a day trader too. So it's like I've had
Well,
stocks that I was watching and I'm in a Zoom call all day. So this is not our
you'll be
normal
catching
time.
the replay of your own stream.
Right.
So what other things do you think that would be important for parents to know that is really like the message that you want to give?
yeah. I think you already touched on something very important, that we as parents, we have huge impact with what we do, how we teach our children. Like,
Yeah.
we as vegans have huge impact already just with our choices. But when we pass this on to a young human who has still a whole life in front of him or her, then of course this impact gets much larger. And we can have such a great influence on this world when we just with already um, staying within our home kind of, and showing this to our family and to our kids, and they then might pass it on, and they might inspire someone else. And I believe there's so many amazing ways to spread the information and to inspire others and to help the journey we're all on as vegans.
Hmm.
But I
Because we're
think one of
creating the new world when you think about it. That's an
yes,
excellent point.
yes,
We're
and you,
creating the future world.
We talk about
yeah,
the name game changers. We are really, I feel like it's just like I said this before too, when sometimes it reminds me of smoking cigarettes when you look like way, in the past, some of us were raised where everyone would smoke around each other and they would even smoke with children, in the car and things sometimes. And it just wasn't something that was widely accepted that it was a bad thing. You would see it on television, but look how the world has changed now to a point where we identified there was health issues. Then it circulated, so everyone started kind of buying in where that became not the norm, and then now the world has become more of like a smoke-free world. Like I feel like we're the changers of this message, that we're like the first people that might have started to tell people that smoking wasn't good for them, and then doctors started buying into it. So it's like,
Imagine
people
that,
like you
man.
are really
That's
creating a
wild.
better world, for everything.
A
um
world of vegan parents and parents with raised consciousness. If we had so much more of that, can you imagine living in that world where those children are now running the world and becoming adults? How much better this world would be?
yes, exactly. And you already mentioned we are in a phase where there's so much transition right now, where just in the last 3 years, the shelves in the grocery store changed, and there
Yep.
are so many
We've
more
seen that, Jen.
documentaries, so many more vegans around, so much more is happening. And like not so long ago, it was quite safe to say when you meet a vegan that, um, well, you've not been vegan your whole life, so you truly should be able to understand the non-vegans, that they are on their journey at a different stage than you are, and so on. But more and more vegans are born and raised now who are vegans from birth,
mhm.
and this is something new. Not entirely, of course, there were a few, but now there are getting many,
Yeah.
and there's like, as you said, a new world is starting to form, and we have a big part of this, and it's very, very important that we play our part in this, and especially parents are kind of superheroes on this, since they they have, of course, the children who they teach and who they inspire and lead and guide along this journey. But it's not just this in one direction. It's not going just one way, because most of us would do more for someone else than we do for ourselves.
Hmm.
Which means for parents, they do a lot of stuff for their children. They go out of their way and they grow, they learn, they do so much that's it's unimaginable for someone who's not a parent, how a life as a parent is. And this especially is also true when you are really into it, really dedicated and really motivated to to help your child to become a confident vegan and to inspire your child with this. This means that you also work a lot on yourself,
Yeah.
that you
Hmm.
become a better vegan yourself, because you know that your child needs you to be the better vegan such that you can inspire your child. And this is like, for me, for example, I went more into activism because I'm a parent, because I
Hmm.
want my child to see how it is and to inspire and show him that it's something you can feel good about, you can be proud of. And I think this is kind of a superpower of parents, that they do so much for their children, that they not only inspire one other person but also work so hard on themselves to become more active and more inspiring as a vegan, and then also have influence on so many people around them.
That's a great. That is so true. So it definitely it's inspiring. I think setting an example is one of the ways that we can show our families, even if it's not our children. It's we can show our friends, and when we present it in the right way, in a confident way, it could help other people really understand. Because I think I want to, oh, welcome, Angela. Angela wanted to welcome. She's going to be one of our next guests coming up this month. We can't wait to talk to you. She said, hello from South Beach. Sorry to have missed this, but just had an opening in my schedule. Oh, well, thanks for popping in and joining us.
Hey,
But like,
Angela.
and Marakita said, all three of you are changing the world. Oh, thank you. We are trying anyway, aren't we? But that
One
is,
life at a time.
yes. And the
And the
why.
younger, the better.
The younger the better. I was like, so like, oh, I can't believe I didn't know all of this until 42. And like, I've so much my life went by that I felt like I could have done so much. But I'm happy now, and I think that's why when we figure this out later on, it's almost like you said, for your children and for me, I just went into like overdrive mode. Like, I've got to tell everyone, we got to figure out a way to get this message out. And the why behind everything is so important. And I think that's one of the things your messages send us, is to teach the children why, take them to the animal movements, and help them understand that this is why, make that connection with them, because like you said, that's the only way they'll make the decision, when it is their decision that they're not with you. So
Absolutely.
get them excited about the food. I mean, imagine how healthy your kids are going to be, like it's great that you're giving them the best chance to start out getting excited about food. I'm sure there's lots of parents watching that wish their kids would get excited about fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, this is of course a big why, the health side of it, the healthy nutrition. But there are so many great whys. I know I have 9 of them on my shirt.
It's
There are
kind of
even more.
hard for us to see, but I know you've probably got on their environment.
I have world hunger, water, animals, rainforest. Now I have to read myself. Compassion, wildlife,
Cool.
peace, planet, and health.
Where'd you get that shirt? Did you make that?
No, it was a birthday gift from
Oh,
my
okay.
wife.
What a
So
great gift.
yeah,
Nice.
I got some amazing vegan shirts for my
I
last
think
birthday.
some of them we don't even think of, like how world hunger plays into it.
Yes, and there are even more. There are even uh, There are so many good reasons, and it's also important to be aware of those reasons because it's not the same reasons for everyone, right? That's so important to have in mind when you talk to someone about veganism, that just because for you it's all about the health or it's all about the animals or both or all about the environment doesn't mean that the person you are talking to thinks the same way. But it's important to be actually a good listener and a good communicator to find out what's important to the other person and how can you relate this to what the other person wants and needs. And this is especially important when you want to teach your child about being vegan and why you want to be vegan, because even if it's your child and um, the child learns everything mostly from you, that doesn't mean that they have the same reasons for
Hmm.
for wanting to be vegan. It can be that they have entirely different reasons, and there is different things which are more important to them, especially when you look at health, because young people are often not that interested in their health as people who get older, but
Hmm.
there's at least in health in the sense of avoiding disease, but they might be interested in health in the sense of being very fit and perform well at sport, for example.
Hmm.
And, but there might be
Absolutely.
completely different reasons. For many,
Right.
of course, it's animals, and children love animals. And usually, if they understand the link between food and animals, they don't want to eat them, right?
Right.
But that's something which is something that's really important for parents to learn these skills to communicate in a way with their children that they actually reach the children and the children understand it, and that they also learn the skills to understand and listen to their little one, which can be very challenging is for small children and parents to listen to them and understand them, because the communication of adults and little kids can be very different. And but it's so important because if you just tell them what to do, that's not going to last for very long.
Right.
But and it's not what you want. Usually, as a parent, you want your child to understand it. You want your child to be excited, and you want your child to at some point make their own decision. And of course, you wish for the child that it decides to stay on this journey of love, compassion, and for this, it's so important that you master these communication skills, and this is something very important in in the relationship between you and your child, and but in relationships in general. And yeah,
That
Awesome.
is something that I was going to say too, is because you getting them excited or getting them empowered and understanding it, like you said, is not just, sometimes kids will even go the other way. If you tell them what to do, you have to eat that. At some point we've all been told that, when we were kids, like, you have to eat that. And it's almost like it can like have the other effect, sometimes. So doing it in a way that gets them excited about it is kind of how we inadvertently have gotten kids excited about other things that aren't that healthy for them. Oh, you can have a treat, you can have this candy if you're good. When you
Right.
do that, you're presenting the candy as something special instead of the fruit. So now they see that as something, oh, I want to eat that. No, you got to eat your broccoli first. So but your kids now are excited about the broccoli and wanting that. So that is a really good message. And where can is there a place, like, do they visit you on Facebook or on other do you have like any link or anything how they could possibly reach out to you if they want to get more information?
yes. So they can definitely contact me on Facebook, write me a message, or leave a comment somewhere. They can also get find me on LinkedIn. No, not LinkedIn, Instagram. Um, I'm on LinkedIn, but not that active at the moment. So I would recommend to write a message on Instagram or Facebook. this would be the easiest to contact me. And
Do we have his Facebook and
I have
Instagram
it.
address?
So as soon as the replay comes up, now that we're on the right, now that we've got the
We'll
tech
switch. We'll
issues,
put it.
we'll
We'll
put
put
your
links
link.
in the description.
Yes, thank you. Our tech support over here will make sure I'm directed to the right one, and I'll put the links in the description of the video, and I usually also post them in the comments. Um, Angela had a comment here that said health oh, actually, Angela said first that she loves Ameriquita very much. She's a shiro. Yes, she is. We love it. Thank you. I love her. She's also an empowerment coach that helps vegans. So we've got our vegan empowerment coach, and then Angela, who's gonna come talk to us about how to stay in shape. Also, is going to be a good one. We're going to have everything well rounded here. What a team of empowered vegans we'll have. She said Stacy Heine of the Urban Pharmacy also does an amazing job with raising her 5-year-old son whole food plant based. He participates in her cooking videos, in her webinars, and she says teach the kids to cook at a young age. That's good. Angela, I don't know if you were here, but also he said that his what your little one can tell us how to make a what is it a
Smoothie.
or a vegan brownie too, right?
yes, he can prepare quite some things. Actually, that's one of his favorite games now. That he goes into his room and picks all kinds of kitchen stuff, brings like half the kitchen into his room and pretends cooking stuff there because he loves cooking so much. And when we actually cook, he's also there. And um, so the grandparents, they're really impressed when he can tell them how exactly to prepare a vegan brownie, or what exactly. So he's usually actually making the smoothie at the moment.
Oh,
Future
is he?
vegan chef.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, he's super excited about it. We actually have more smoothies than we would on our own because he's always insisting that he also wants a smoothie for the next meal with
That's
cacao
great.
powder, of course.
Cacao, yes, that's his thing, and that's good because he's still getting that sweet chocolate, but it's actually really healthy for you without all the milk and things in it. Angela said it's really important because they learn to understand how to be independent in food prep, where this all begins with what's on their plates. That is so very true. That is definitely them asking for smoothies. I mean, like, I'm sure there's a lot of parents listening that wish their kids would ask for that for a snack.
Yeah, yeah, that's actually a really important point to also encourage them to be independent and to do their own things, which will help them with with being around other people and being independent in other regards as well, and being confident.
And just taking like how healthy your children can be and how much of a difference we can make on with animals and with the environment and like all the other things mentioned on your shirt. Just by taking out a few things. I know it seems like a lot when we're raised one way, our entire life, and we're hearing you've got to give the kids milk, you got to give them this. It's very difficult, but when you actually wipe all that out and create an open mind and really research, you find that you're doing the best thing, I think, in that you can do to get your kids starting out, to get them on the right lifestyle for how they'll continue to develop. And I think it's just a really great thing that you're doing. And like I said, we'll link everything in there. Also want to thank, before we start to wrap up here, Marakita, Angela, Janetta, you were in here, I think, a little while ago. Buddha 1000, our excellent moderator
What's
here.
up?
She
Buddha's
popped
here.
in. Yes, thank you to J&J
Hey, Buddha.
Video. She was in and out, but still made it with us. So I'm so thankful for you getting the stream up and running. And of course, our special guest here.
You are very welcome.
Mhm. You are just really doing amazing things, and I think one of the most important things that there are is teaching our children. And the thing that you're doing is helping where that comes from, because obviously we have to have vegan parents in order to get children. Do you have, like, I wanted to ask this earlier and I forgot. Are there plant-based options in schools right now, like in your country?
Sometimes it
Sometimes.
really depends on the type of school and where you are. Actually, it's not always the case.
Interesting. Yeah, I know it's becoming like there's a lot of people who are, trying to get that to happen, but it's difficult with all the funding and things that come from, that's another thing you find when you realize, especially when it comes to kids, there's a lot of funding that happens in the meat and dairy industry for schools, and that kind of dictates what their meals are. It's like a big connection that I had no idea until I delved into this world. I don't know if you were that way too. I found out so much information when I became vegan, and I started out for health reasons, and then it kind of evolved into all the other reasons. So I think, like you said, figuring out that one why, and I think a lot of people do it, for animals, that tends to resonate with people. Hi, Ellen. Thank you for joining. And she said, "Thank you, Bjorn." Did I let me have your name one more time?
Björn.
Yeah. Thank you. She said, for doing this. I have the same shirt. Oh wow,
That's
Ellen's got the shirt.
amazing.
We're jealous. We want that shirt. I'm gonna go find it online next time you come on. Hopefully, you'll join us at some point again, and we can now we'll all three have the same shirt, right?
We'll find it.
Yes. Is there anything else you want to say? I really am thankful that you came on so late, your time. Is there anything else we can say that you would want to give as a message to wrap up for us?
Yeah, I'm really happy to be here. Thank you so much for all you're doing, for all the great shows you put up and all the information you get out. And I'm very happy and honored to be part of this here. And I'm just very passionate and excited about supporting other parents who are also into raising their kids vegan or into just helping their kids to get on this journey. And feel free to contact me, whatever situation it might be. There's just always the individual journey where we are all on, and I'd love to just learn more about it, learn more about each individual situation, and hint maybe where what could help. And I'm very excited to be part of this amazing vegan movement and doing my part in helping this world to move towards a new vegan world.
That is the goal, and
Awesome.
I think that's an important, very important role that you have there. We're all supporting people and getting this message out. And Marakita said Ellen shares her vegan knowledge with kids. She's a great activist. Thank you. That's great, Ellen. Thank you. So,
Good
you're
job.
the empowering like our next generations, which is I think one of the most important things. I wish, like we all said, we could know this earlier, so that getting this information out, making it more mainstream, because even though it's not mainstream, social media is so powerful now that we can in our own ways each get it out there, and then eventually it will become the norm, I do believe. I like the way you said that, making this the new vegan world.
Yep.
Well, thank you. And thank you, everyone, for joining us in the comments. If there aren't any last minute questions or anything here, I want to thank you for your time and for being here with us. I'm
Thank
really
you so
thankful.
much for being here and keep raising those wonderful vegans.
For sure. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you for
you.
everybody who's in the chat as well.
Yes.
Marquita and Janetta and all of you guys. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out, Angela. Thank you, everybody who is part of this movement, who is this live stream, who is coming on and sharing your us and what you're doing. It really helps the channel grow and it helps to spread the message and spread the word about veganism. So thank you guys for being a part of it. And I'm
Angela will be
so
with us.
blessed to
So
be a part of it.
we're blessed to have you here. Thank you. You get the whole thing going for us. So we wouldn't have a link without that, right? No
Aw,
one would hear it. And
I try.
Angela
I
will
do
be
what I
with us.
can.
on May the 12th. Please join us then too. It'll be a special. I think it's Friday.
Excited.
Yes, I can't wait. All right, and thank
Well, we're
you.
going to end with the poem that Jen wrote. I produced a video for a poem that she wrote, and we end all of our streams with it. Take a minute and listen to it. It's really creative, and it brings up a lot of wonderful, beautiful points and point of views about being vegan and what we can do.
Thank you for that, and thank you for the beautiful images you put with it. Bjorn, have a great evening, and thank you again. And we'll put the links in there for his all of his ways to reach out to him. Thank you for everything you're doing, and thank you everyone in the chat. Thank you, Buddha. Thank you, Angela and Marakita and Janetta. I can't stop. Okay.
Best moderator on YouTube. See you tomorrow, Buddha. Bye, Janetta. See you tomorrow, baby.
We'll see you on J&J's stream. 7:30 on Tuesdays.
On Tuesdays. Okay, let's see here. I think I found it. There it is. Peace and blessings, everybody.
If we can become a plant-based nation, we could get off all our medication. We want to keep doing things like we were, donating to organizations claiming to fight for a cure. But the cure is already in front of our eyes, and it's time for us to wake up and realize. We may not want to believe we have control. It's easier for most of us to metaphorically live in a hole. So many stories of how being plant-based has reversed disease. It's funny that we can't stop eating meat with ease. We want to continue to look for the answer, yet people have reversed even cancer. I think finally as a nation, it's time to give people the truthful information. Your hard-earned money is what you pay to take your medicine day after day. Sadly, there's a lot of money being made in people staying sick. This has to finally make something click. We have to have this revelation that a cure means not selling medication. There's so many myths and misconceptions, but it's eye-opening once you make the connections. That meat and dairy are causing insulin resistance. It's not sugar and carbs causing diabetes, for instance. Scientifically, our bodies are not set up like carnivores. We model those who eat plants. If you can heal, why not give it a chance? You follow your car's owner's manual for what gas it takes, yet for our bodies without care, we feed it steaks. That's like giving an unleaded car diesel to drink. Our bodies will reject it, don't you think? I'm not here to tell you what to do, but to be a voice, that when it comes to your health, you have the choice. With just a few adjustments to your diet, I can help if you just want to try it. I've found testimonials that people have reversed every ailment and disease by simply eliminating meat, eggs, milk, and cheese. There's a tasty substitute for all the things you already eat. You can get all your nutrients without eating meat. Save the animals, the environment, and yourself just by making a few different selections off the grocery store shelf. It's never too late. I've seen it work at all age ranges. It's my passion, and I can't wait to hear about your positive health changes. It's time for the world to wake up and heal, and you can start with your very next meal.